If you find yourself having a difficult time turning your brain off, maybe replaying conversations in your head, or being uncertain about the decisions you make, I invite you to tune in for this short but impactful video. As a former chronic overthinker, trust me, I get it. I grew up with a quite hypervigilant mother, and I took on many of her patterns. However, my healing has showed me that overthinking is not the problem. It's really a symptom of something else. Overthinking is what happens when you've lost trust in yourself. Yes, anxiety, stress, perfectionism can be causes, but if you truly trusted yourself and your ability to confront and handle any situation that comes your way, then that perfectionism stress would be a non issue or much less of a concern or blocker toward executing on whatever it is that you actually need to do to be productive or aligned. Overthinking is essentially your mind trying to think its way to safety. Think about it. When has overthinking ever helped you? Maybe one in like 5 million times. It might protect you, but there's a difference between overthinking and just like reasonable planning and problem solving. Best case scenario is you get to a point where you're not overthinking, catastrophizing all of the things that could go wrong, but you start having the ability to naturally overthink all the best case scenarios. But how do you actually get to this point? When you are faced with rumination, just like a super busy, scattered mind, it's important to ground yourself. And I talk about that in all my videos because regulation is essential. However, if you're in a grounded enough place, the best thing that you can do is become the observer of your thoughts. Now, hear me out. I'm sure you've heard this before, but I wish I understood earlier on the power that this has, because this is where your power lies. Once you become the observer of your thoughts and you're able to kind of act as an audience member watching a movie, you can start seeing your thoughts as movie scenes so that as the audience member stays the same. They're sitting back, just observing the different scenes that are passing. Learn to observe with curiosity and openness. And that's one way of looking at it, at least. So some people say to immediately label your thought as good or bad. I wouldn't necessarily recommend that because that can get you in an analysis type of mode as well. What has been super helpful for me and what I share with clients is when a thought arises, just observe it. And you can try just acknowledging it, letting it go. But something that really helps me truly letting it go is identifying it as useful or not for the present. Practicing presence is key for anyone with overthinking, ruminating tendencies. So observe the thoughts and identify it as, is this useful for me right now or not? A lot of the times, if you're so deeply wired to scan for danger and whatnot, it's not going to be useful. So you can say, hey, thanks for trying to help me out, but I don't think I actually need your help right now. However you like to talk to that part of you. Because like me, I tend to like to be a little more gently, but someone else may need to be like, okay, like I don't freaking need you. This isn't like just some woo-woo thing like, oh, don't get too attached to your thoughts. You are not your thoughts. There are psychology practices strictly around this. Look into cognitive diffusion. That's one of the ones that recently came up for me in my therapy. So I would highly recommend looking into that to just like further ingrain this. If I were to tell my past self at the beginning of my self love journey where to start, it would probably be this. Because once you get to a place where you are an observer, are not identifying so much, obviously, we're not going to be perfect, but not identifying so much with those thoughts that are just trying to keep you safe, keep you small, and in a more predictable path, that's where so much freedom and a true awakening will happen. And there's so much magic that'll happen on the other side of that. I so appreciate you being here and sticking around for the entirety of this video. Now that you have a better understanding of the root, I would highly recommend checking out this next video where I help you tap into whether the thought is coming from intuition versus fear, keeping in mind that intuition is your personalized GPS for life. So, if you truly want to live a life in alignment with the life that your soul was meant to live, then you'll absolutely have to be in touch with your intuition. And this video would be a great place to start. Thank you so much for being here.